This week on Cinema Beach, we go on a killing spree.
Hello and welcome to Cinema Beach, the show that brings you the latest news and reviews from the art house, courtesy CinemaBeach.com. I'm Brian Thompson.
And I'm Tony Ortiz. This week we take a look at Bobcatt Goldthwait's latest film, God Bless America.
Plus our DVD pick and a look at what's on video shelves.
But first, the headlines from the Indie Newsfeed.
So, Tony, this is going to be a very politically charged show, and I think I think the theme will be politically charged and bad movies.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off with the news about the NEA, the National Endowment of the Arts, actually announced this week that they are cutting funding to POV and Independent Lens on PBS, and this is like one last final blow to this program. POV deals and Independent Lens deal with independent documentaries. It's kind of one of the great places that documentarians can actually show their movies now. PBS put a blow to the program when they moved it from Tuesdays to Thursdays, and so it was up against the Thursday night programming block, and no one was watching it. Ratings went down. Now NEA is cutting the funding to it by half. So I don't know. I mean, independent documentarians, can they have it rougher?
Yeah, it's pretty rough stuff.
It is, and the NEA has been having a hard time with funding. Obviously Congress, being more the Republican-controlled Congress right now, is not really interested in financing the arts. They don't finance our podcasts.
I'm still waiting. I'm actually still waiting.
But they're having a rough time. Public television, public radio are having a rough time, which means that sadly, independent filmmakers are having a rough time because of it. I mean, the NEA gives out a lot of grants, and it's kind of bad news. And so, I don't really have anything more to say about this other than fuck it.
Yeah. Wow.
So
yeah, explicit.
That's my my little political news and a little rant there. But it is what it is, I guess. And I guess all we can say is, support PBS, support programming like Independent Lens and public or POV. Watch some of the great films that are on there, and
it comes from support.
It does,
from viewers like you.
Thanks.
And hopefully you guys are dropping a couple of dimes in the bucket for us too. You know what I mean? Speaking of.
Dropping some dimes.
Yeah, dropping some dimes. Actually, I think we could count how many dimes this next movie made, right? 370 dimes. I think if my math is correct. I don't know if I'm a mathematician, but
we're talking about
Zizix
Road,
Road,
which is the famous
awesome
road.
Movie.
Yes, the famous road on the way out to Vegas, right?
Yeah. And that's all it should be known for. Not.
Yeah,
a movie that amassed a box office gross of $37.
Yeah, this is a film is notorious for being the lowest grossing film in film history. Although I think it might have been usurped finally this year, but it is kind of known for this. And it played. It was back in 1996, and no, 2006. 2006, and it stars Katherine Heigl and Tom Sizemore.
She draws in the box office. I'm going to tell you right now. Obviously.
The problem is it's not about Katherine Heigl playing a bounty hunter. That's really...
Yeah.
Or she doesn't go...
Yeah.
Which is what she's so known for.
Yeah, it's horrible. And Tom Sizemore obviously doesn't draw in the crowds that he used to.
Well,
such movies as... I don't know.
Black Hawk Down.
Heat.
Well, he's going to be in our DVD pick, so we'll talk about him then. But
sorry, Tom.
Zizix Road, yeah. So it's the news that came out for fans of Zizix Road who bought it on DVD because it actually did have some success on DVD. Go Digital, the distribution company Go Digital, actually just recently purchased it to release it digitally. So
Well, yeah, I think it's got a little following now because people
Yeah.
want to see the worst or the lowest grossing film.
yeah, and to be fair, it's not it's not the worst film. I mean, there are definitely worse films out there. It's a bad movie, but it's not a horrible movie. But they released it. It was back in 2006 in one theater in Dallas, Texas, for like 7 days just to like meet their distribution requirements.
Yeah.
But like no one saw it. They made $30. So
It was just a gateway. They were trying to find who would team up with Katherine Heigl. They were like, all right, we'll start off with this guy, and then now it's got like Gerard Butler and other dudes. But Tom Sizemore was just warming her up, you know. he
isn't
got
he known
first
for like
dibs.
beating women or?
You heard it first here, folks. I guess so.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Is that
yeah.
slander now?
Yeah. Tom Sizemore's gonna come kick your ass. You know what I mean? Oh
So-
shit!
Well, it's a movie. I think check it out.
I'm scared.
Tom Sizemore.
Tom Sizemore.
I'm scared of Zizek's Road.
Oh, well,
Every time
there
I
you
drive
go.
down the 15, I always look at it and think, "There's death."
Katherine Heigl.
Catherine.
Tom Sizemore. Well, speaking of fear,
Yes, we want to talk about our trailer this week. Is this really odd Fear of Everything trailer?
I didn't mean to become a children's author. It was a terrible accident.
I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna buckle, I swear to God.
I'll see you in my dreams.
I'm sick of these irrational fears. Like the bloody laundrette, it's stopping me from living my life.
You in my dreams.
You must return to the scene of the crime. Begin a new life, free from fear.
I'll see you.
You know me. I'm sensitive. I've never even bought toilet roll.
the Fantastic Fear of Everything.
Yeah, that's what the name is.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So it's directed by this
Chris-
music director, music
Chris
video
Hopewell?
director Chris Hopewell, who did like Radiohead and The Knife. Who I love The Knife, and if you watch the show, you probably heard The Knife.
But it's co-directed by him and a musician as well.
Crispian Mills
Kula Shaker
from Kula Shaker, who I haven't heard since
a while ago.
maybe like the late '90s.
I think mid 2006.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you followed them more than I did, but
No, I think a Kula Shaker album came when I pledged at KCRW.
KCRW.
KCRW. I pledged. I supported. And that was one of the 5 CDs they gave me.
So the movie, stars Simon Pegg, and I think from the trailer you can tell that it's kind of a wacky. I think when we talked about it, it seems like it's a Michel Gondry-esque type film.
Michel Gondry, Terry Gilliam, kind of like just a fun-looking film.
I'm somewhat familiar with Chris Hopewell's work, and he kind of has that kind of Gondry-like. Gondry came from music video, so it kind of makes sense. But I don't know, it looks fun. I like Simon Pegg. I mean, I think I've always liked Simon Pegg. Everything that he does, I see, even the bad stuff. Yeah,
You do. You watch everything.
I follow him on Twitter. Simon, if you're watching, I love you. So, I'm looking forward to the film. It looks fun. So,
Well, I will definitely check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it does look fun. So, well, now to the nitty gritty.
yeah. Up next, our review of this really violent movie, God Bless America, starring Joel Murray and a little Orange County girl.
Yeah. All right.
For more film news, check out the Indie Newsfeed at CinemaBeach.com. From trailers to casting announcements, film festival news to production updates, the Newsfeed at Cinema Beach is your best source for indie film news. While you're there, subscribe to our RSS feed and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
scariest ringtone ever. Just text PIG.
We have a press that just gives them a free pass.
The boys were caught after setting the homeless man on fire.
Coming up on Tough Girls.
A tumor this size is very dangerous. Do you have any family? Oh, gotta take this.
My name is Chloe. I live in Virginia Beach, and everyone loves me because I'm so pretty. I wanted an Escalade! This is the biggest day of my life, and I'm doing all the work!
Hey, creepy. Isn't the schoolgirl thing a little played out?
Don't move and don't make a sound.
If you want the car, just take it. My parents got me the wrong one anyways.
Yeah, that's a tragedy.
Did you just kill Chloe? Awesome.
That was a fantastic start.
Do you take requests? Who are you killing next?
The Kardashians.
People who use rock star as an adjective.
People who give high fives.
Anyone who wears crystals.
You're friggin' Rambo, man.
In the latest film by comedian Bobcatt Goldthwait, Joel Murray plays Frank, a man who's mad as hell and isn't going to take it anymore. After being fired from his job and diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, he goes on a killing spree, taking out the hate-filled celebrities who he feels are at the root of America's decline. Along the way, he picks up his Bonnie to his Clyde in the form of a slightly psychotic teenage girl. But is the violence too much? Is the message too heavy-handed, Tony?
No.
No.
But well, yes, it is. But the runtime is too long, and that is the two that counts the most.
Yeah, it's like an hour and too much.
Yes. Yes. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
I don't know.
High five.
Great. The high five.
Yes. We won't get. We would be shot for that. I
Yes.
think, right?
Joel Murray would
Yeah.
shoot us.
Joel Murray would shoot us. Which I just shook hands with his brother.
You did
the
at
other day.
at the Cubs game,
And
right?
if I had watched this beforehand, I probably would have punched him in the face.
Well, it's not Bill Murray's fault that Joel Murray is not good in the
I know,
movie.
and I love Bill Murray. And actually, I love Joel Murray. I mean,
Yeah.
One Crazy Summer.
He's on Mad Men.
Oh, and Mad Men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Come on now. Right? So I definitely... there was parts about this movie that I liked, but at the end of the day, what you said, it really is just too much.
Okay.
And I think we could probably talk about this movie. I could talk about this movie for an hour long.
Yeah, and I think it's not fair that for one, it's a movie that's definitely politically charged, and it's politics or something that you and I both kind of subscribe to in a sense. I mean, we're not about killing people.
Yeah.
But it's more of kind of a liberal type of film, you know. I would say it's almost more libertarian. I don't know Bobcat's personal political beliefs, but it is a movie that is definitely a personal film. I mean, you can tell it's his writing. Yeah.
And I think that's where I have the problem. I think if Bobcat would have come up with the story and, directed it and everything, casted it, I think his wife actually casted it.
Yeah.
And she's there with him when he cast the films. I think it would have been fine, but I guess he did this the same with all his other movies, but I just think the writing was just a little too long-winded.
Yeah.
I think that someone else needed to come on in and maybe concise it up. It seemed very much...
Well, I'm going to talk
the
about
top.
this movie. I'm going to talk about it in relation to Bobcat's previous film, which I really loved. It was World's Greatest Dad with Robin Williams. It's a fantastic movie. The movie prior to that, I didn't see. It was the Sleeping Dog's Lie. I missed that one. But I did see Shakes the Clown, and it's horrible.
Yeah. Actually, see, now there I like Shakes the Clown.
Did you?
In a weird way.
It's I don't know. The writing in that movie is pretty bad, but the writing in World's Greatest Dad is really good, and the film is really good. And so going into this movie, I was really excited because I was thinking, I just recently, a couple years ago, saw World's Greatest Dad, and I loved it. I'm really excited about this movie, and this movie is like a step backwards.
That's where I agree with you, and that's where my point of not liking this movie comes from, is because I felt like, this guy's already directed, Bobcat's already directed like 5 or 6 movies.
Yeah.
And probably a handful of other things. And I feel that this one doesn't seem like a progression, except it does feel like a step backwards.
Yeah, I mean,
Everything seemed
we watched the
amateurish in the
movie
film.
together, and you mentioned that it felt like it was like a student film.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel that because it's a movie that is basically just laying out there an idea. It's an ideological film, and student filmmakers sadly have this kind of really high-minded, long-winded type of filmmaking, and that's what he's doing here. And it's sad because he didn't do that in prior films, and I don't know what kind of made him do it with this, but it is a movie, as I mentioned in my intro. I feel like it's heavy-handed. Here's the thing, though: the very first scene, the intro of the film, where we've got Frank, who's played by Joel Murray, does this monologue about how he hates his neighbors. And I loved it. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then it ends, that sequence ends with him going into the neighbor, in a dream, going into his neighbor's apartment and shooting a baby with a shotgun and covering the mom with blood. And I was just like, oh my God, like, what am I getting into? This is amazing. And it's sad because
From there it goes down.
From there it goes down. I mean, it never, and it's weird because it's a movie that is kind of a wet dream for these like kind of crazy ultra liberal or libertarian type of people, in going off and like killing all the people who you disagree with. But it's not a dream. This is happening in real life. And in the opening sequence, it's a dream. And I almost would have been kind of happy had the whole thing had been like kind of just a fantasy, or it might have just been a delusional like rant. But it wasn't. I mean, the movie, I think it just goes a little too far. The problem is we talked about this with he has kind of a code where he's saying, I'm only going to kill people who are mean. But ultimately, if you start dissecting the film, I feel like Bobcat is doing the same thing as his, objects of disapproval are doing. It's the Glenn Becks of the world who basically, say, hey, people like Bobcat probably shouldn't be around. He's doing the same thing, saying the Glenn Becks of the world shouldn't be around. So,
yeah, I mean, once again, I just think that the mark was missed. And, the only people that are actually going to enjoy this movie, like what I read from the critics and stuff like that, all the critics who like and all those people who like the movie so far are ones who kind of are Bobcat fans and just kind of fit into that same mentality, who are like always like, oh, this stupid show makes me want to barf, or you know what I mean? Just has like a really heavy opinion of the pop culture, which I do too, but half of the time I just take it or leave it. I just kind of am one of those ones who just tunes out from the world. I just don't really watch TV or anything like that, compared to the ones that watch it and get disgusted all day long, So I think it's those people who are going to love this film. And I feel like for this type of message, if it would have been something made a little more polished and a little less wordy, you might have touched a broader audience. Just other people.
I mean, there is a way to make a movie that has a message that appeals to other people and still maybe kind of, slips that message in and maybe kind of changes, subverts the minds. It's not propaganda. This movie is not propaganda. It's preaching to the masses. Mm-hmm. But so I mean, we've kind of gotten that out of the way. I do want to talk about a few of the positive things that I liked about the movie. I mentioned that opening sequence. It's fantastic.
It really is.
Some of the monologues, while they are long-winded, they some of them are actually kind of written pretty interestingly well. He's got some really kind of funny ideas. There are a few moments in the film that I did laugh.
Yeah, there were a handful of funny parts.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobcat actually is a funny guy. So
and this is along the lines of his humor.
I mean, that the whole doctor sequence is hilarious, and he just has some really funny parts in there. I mean,
sadly, the funny parts were the parts when it wasn't dealing with this kind of political ideology. I
thought that Terrell Barr was pretty good. She was a good actress.
She is good at it.
Job
I hadn't seen anything that she had done before this. She's a local gal. She's fantastic in the movie. She kind of does a little Mallory type thing, from Natural Born Killers, which we'll talk about later. But she's fantastic, and she actually, her character and Joel Murray's character, Frank and was it Frank and Roxy is what the characters' names are. They do this like Bonnie and Clyde thing, and it's pretty fun, but it's also kind of an id and ego for Bobcat Goldthwait. It's like she's the extreme, and he kind of keeps her in check. And I feel like maybe she's going a little too far, and he kind of is reining it in. And maybe it's Bobcat's mind saying, "Oh, we should just kill everybody," and then the ego in his mind is like, "No, let's let's just kill people on American Idol."
What are you looking at, old man?
I'm recording this. Thanks for not talking during the feature. Thanks for turning off your cell phone.
You're welcome.
Why have a civilization if we're no longer interested in being civilized?
Hey, buddy, what's wrong?
A lot.
A lot of crazy people out there.
I only want to kill people who deserve to die.
Frank,
What?
this is more fun than killing yourself, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I know it's not normal to want to kill, but I am no longer normal.
You really gotta take both those spots?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, all in all, I don't want to say I hated the movie. There were parts I really liked about the movie, and other parts I didn't. But at the end of the day, would I go back to see this movie again? Probably not.
Yeah, I really can't recommend the film. I mean, even people who I think believe in some of the stuff that he's espousing here, I can't even recommend it to them. I mean, I know people who definitely would like this movie, who are exactly like Frank. But I can't.
And they live in Montana.
They live in Portland. How you doing up there, Mick? But it's I can't even recommend it to them. I mean, it's a movie that I just, it's a miss. It's a total miss. And, hopefully he comes back and does another film that's better. So
I'm sorry, Bob. If you want to come on and, we could duke it out or shoot it out or something like that.
So up next, our DVD pick of the week. Actually, we're going to talk about a film that's very similar, but maybe a little bit better. So stay tuned.
To check out more about this movie, head on over to the review section at CinemaBeach.com. Read the complete review, or check out the other reviews on the site. Updated weekly, we've got you covered on all the films playing in Southern California's art houses. You can also browse our archives for past reviews from all our contributors.
Mickey and Mallory. Feared by thousands.
I love you so much, baby.
I love you.
Watched by millions.
We're fading. Can't stop fading. Nobody can. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone or something.
Woody Harrelson, Juliette Lewis, Robert Downey Jr., and Tommy Lee Jones.
What do you have to say to your fans?
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Natural-born killers. In the media circus of life, they were the main attraction.
In 1994, controversial filmmaker Oliver Stone raised the bar by giving us one of cinema's most violent films about two killers who spark a media frenzy. It's a fantastic movie with a brilliant score, amazing acting, and it put the names Mickey and Mallory into the film vault. And in turn, it shoved ultra-violence into the mainstream by satirizing, yet challenging the violence that we see every day on the small screen. I mean, Tony, this is kind of a classic film, and I think anybody who hasn't seen it has probably been told by somebody to see it. So we're not really saying anything new here, but Oliver Stone, Natural Born Killers, DVD pick. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty easy DVD pick, and obviously one that's probably been paralleled. I'm sure Bobcat's heard that a billion times now, to the movie that we just reviewed, God Bless America. But
yeah, you heard an interview with him where he even talked about it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is a pretty a given. For a DVD pick. If you haven't seen it, it's probably one that would get your attention. It's very heavily stylized. And,
yeah, it's one that as film school guys, especially like film school guys from back in the early 2000s and 90s. Yeah, it's one that your man, your buddy, Robert Richardson.
Robert Richardson shot it. Quentin Tarantino wrote the story.
Yeah.
Oliver Stone directed it. You had Woody Harrelson. You had everybody in the movie, actually. The soundtrack was like huge. I mean, it's a big movie. I mean, it's definitely no joke as far as.
But it's not one
pool of talent.
It's not one that Oliver Stone definitely is known for certain types of films. This is a movie that is not. I mean, it's not Born on the 4th of July. It's not Platoon. It's not JFK. But it's just as politically charged as any of those other films. But I think one of the things that I really like about the movie is that its style. It's a movie that Robert Richardson and Oliver Stone, they did using every format possible.
Yes.
8mm, 16mm, 35 video.
Cross-process.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film to watch.
Positive. I mean, they've done it all in this movie. I think the reason why I was glad we suggested this, though, is because unlike God Bless America, I feel like this was a movie that you might have gone to see just to see some crazy movie or something like that.
Yeah.
But it still has a political message, but it's just not constantly beating you over the head with it through dialogue.
Yeah.
Maybe through other things, but not just dialogue, which I felt that God Bless America did. This movie kind of just throws it at you.
Yeah.
And,
our last episode, we talked about The Raid, and we talked about the violence in The Raid, and that actually was a draw for people who, wanted to see kind of some crazy violence. They would go see The Raid. And then afterwards, we talked about Battle Royale. We talked about how ultra-violent that movie was, but it had a point, and it kind of ended up creating a theme, in a sense, about teen violence. This is a movie that I think on the surface, it's a violent film, and I think people went to see it because it's called Natural Born Killers. And this is the era. This was 94,
95.
This was the O.J. Simpson thing going on. This is the Ted Kaczynski. This is kind of a time
birth of pretty much violence in the mainstream. We really started to see TV for the medium that it is.
Yeah.
And to put people on the spotlight, you know what I mean? Kind of.
And the film, it definitely, that's what the themes of the film are about. It's about, it's a movie about two people going on a killing spree across the country, just like God Bless America. They're doing it because they want to be famous, I guess. They want to be one of these killers that's on TV. They're doing it for their own kind of selfish reasons. They're not doing it to spread an agenda. But in a sense, what Oliver Stone does by showing a film about these people is he in turn is spreading an agenda about the media's love for people like this. It's a brilliant film. It's a little over the top, but it is a film that it has to be seen. It's one that you got to see it and then maybe that's it. Stash it away.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good movie.
Yeah, you don't need to see it over and over again. But
and it did make more than $37 in the box office, and so Tom Sizemore should be happy about that.
Tom Sizemore is in the movie. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. We mentioned Rodney Dangerfield, who is fantastic, and I think one of the sadly, but one of the I think the most memorable scenes in the film, which is kind of this send up to a kind of sitcom Daddy Knows Best type stuff, but he's the father of Juliette Lewis's character. He molested her and all that stuff. So we see it in a flashback, and it's a brilliant scene, and he's scary and dramatic,
you see Rodney Dangerfield in a very different light.
Yeah.
This role, but I like all of them too. I think everyone in that movie, and that's kind of what I missed in God Bless America. Not to keep throwing it back to that, but this movie, beautifully shot, beautifully directed, amazingly acted. It just kind of hit on all the bases that you would ask a movie to. Yeah. And so
whereas something like God Bless America is just an idea. It's just, smartly written dialogue, but that's it. So
but yes, Natural Born Killers, the DVD pick of the week, and I think everyone should go watch it.
Yeah, get it.
Out on DVD this week, The Iron Lady, starring Academy Award winner Meryl Streep as British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, It's a good performance in a so-so movie that's worth a look if you can get past the poor writing and makeup. Into the Abyss, Werner Herzog's documentary about 2 killers on death row is insightful as it explores both the mind of a criminal and the system that dishes out corporal punishment. Sleeping Beauty, starring Emily Browning in this dark tale about sexuality and voyeurism from novelist turned filmmaker Julia Ley, is a challenging film that one of our critics found more frustrating than satisfying. And finally, Little Rock, director Mike Oates' award-winning film about 2 Japanese students on a road trip through California that encounter a sleepy town and its citizens. It's a confident, surprising film that achieves so much on its micro budget. See this one.
Well, I guess that's it for the week. And I would like to thank everybody on the website at cinemabeach.com. Go check us out, like us.
Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, do all that stuff. We say it every week. We've got the addresses right here. So
it's just us today, no camera person. So hopefully we're both in frame and stuff. I don't even know.
I'm over here.
But yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping, I apologize. Some of these shows have been kind of hit and miss every week. We're trying to kind of solidify a location. So if any of you out there do want to kind of support us, send us some feedback and let us know what we could do to make it better, and maybe what we can do to kind of secure more permanent digs. So
yeah, nice. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Tony Ortiz.
And I'm Brian Thompson. We'll see you next week.